dude, there was so much testing going on at Mega Cash Days. It was insane because there was like 2 weeks before some of us had to race. So we're just stuck in this town testing, and we were testing. There was times where, believe it or not, I was pulling up to test. Me and Jackie were in the truck. We were by ourselves. We're rolling up to test. Dude, it's fucking hilarious. We was rolling up to test. We found this spot the day before. And we were like, man, this is going to be a good spot to test. It's almost just like the race road. So we skeeted out early one of the race nights. We're rolling up to this spot. We pull over in the dark. It's me, Jeff Lutz, and Jackie. And we hear some dude saying, hey, hey. And I was like, what the fuck? So I threw the bitch in gear, and I start peeling off with pulling the trailer, and we're running. And these dudes are waving flashlights and shit at us. And I was like, fuck that. And Jeff was like, it's a dead end. Where are you going to go? I was like, I don't fucking know. I'm getting the hell out of here. And then it was, Chief, stop. So finally, Jackie's like, it's not cops. So I stopped, and Robin Roberts comes running up to the truck, fucking, Central Power Systems himself. And I was like, what the hell are you doing? He was like, I was hiding in the ditch. I was like, why? He's like, because we're going to test here. I was like, what the fuck are you doing hiding in a ditch, man? And he said, we were going to make some hits here. And I was like, well, so am I. And he said, well, would you mind if you didn't? And I was like, yeah, I kind of would. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to make a hit here. And he was like, well,
yeah,
fuck.
I'm making a hit.
Yeah, he's like, if you're going to make a hit anyway, he's like, pull over here where we parked our shit, and then, you can make a hit, and we'll all go out and make a hit at the same time. So out of nowhere, never in a million years would I expect to see be in Scottsbluff, Nebraska, testing illegally with Larry Larson and Robin Roberts. It was insane. And we tested almost all night there. We made 3 or 4 hits. They had this, fat little setup where you was off the road, duck back, and then you pull down the road, made a hit. And then as we're testing there, Derek Travis drives by in his truck, and we're hiding in the ditch. We're like, oh shit, that's Derek. He slows way down. He starts looking at the marks, and he's thinking about unloading that motherfucker. And then he drove off. We're like, thank God. Then half an hour later, whatever, we were back there working on the shit, and we hear this fucking nitrous car doing a burnout. We're like, what the fuck? We go running out there, and it's, of all people, it's the dipshit with the Lumina, B-Rad or whatever.
Oh, B-Rad. Yeah, B-Rad. Yeah.
So we look out there, B-Rad is doing a burnout. He done pushed this shit over there with a golf cart from across the highway to where we was at. And he makes a hit, and all of a sudden there's 20 people coming out of the ditch because we was all standing hiding in the ditch waiting. So, dude, that part was probably, other than the racing, being able to race for $100,000, anytime you get to race for $100,000, that's fucking huge. You know what I mean? And being able to race for a living in that moment, you know what I mean? Like, we were staying up there. That's all we were doing was racing. So, it was all about winning money to pay bills. So just that alone is big enough. But man, seeing and being around all of that testing from like dudes that I would never think, like, if you look at B-Rad, you ain't gonna think he's no G, you know what I mean? Like, he puts on, but he's cool, but I wouldn't think he'd be out there beating the street up, and there he was, dude, fucking beating the street up. And it was loud enough. Then Larry Larson, of all people, you know what I mean? Flintstone himself, he's making hit after hit after hit. Like, these dudes was not worried about going to jail, you know what I mean? And that's something that when you're in that big race, or when you go to all these races, there's usually not that kind of time in between to see that stuff. So you think to yourself, man, these dudes shouldn't even be here. You know what I mean? A lot of people think Robin Roberts and Larry Larson and, guys like B-Rad, they shouldn't be at Cash Days. They ain't no Cash. They ain't about Cash Days. They ain't OG, but then it's like, you say whatever you want, but half the OGs was at the hotel asleep, and B-Rad, Larry Larson, and Robin Roberts making hits. You know what I mean? Like, that's something that said something to me. I had a whole new respect for a lot of them dudes.
That's right, man. You're absolutely right. I can tell you, if someone would have told me, like 3 years ago, man, I'm gonna tell you right now, you're gonna be making illegal hits next to Larry Larson and Robin Roberts on the street. I'm telling you, I'd be like, shut the what? No, dude, get out of here. Like, man, I drove through town one day. And I just started looking around, and every piece of straight concrete was just tore up with rubber and tire marks all over town, dude. It was just amazing. I'm sure these people were like, y'all are just effing up our streets in this town. Because if we
We
found a piece of
were.
straight concrete, we were making a hit. It didn't matter. So
It was priceless because there's those one dudes that just can't risk it for whatever reason, and I get it. You can't risk it. I get it. Ain't nobody gonna beg you to go out and put your shit in the street. That ain't me. If that's not what you, that's not what you do. I ain't no disrespect to nobody. So those dudes was sleeping and getting sleep, and they show up to the race and they're smiling, everything's cool, and you could tell who was the ones out there with us because man, they was dragging their ass the next day trying to go to that street race and help their buddies and shit. And we had been out all night. There was a couple times that I was out testing. I saw you at 4 a.m. out of fucking nowhere. I'm like, where the fuck did you come from? And you're like, oh, we was down the road testing. We couldn't invite it, So it was cool as hell. To be honest with you, that part, that's what got me the most. That's what made it so much damn fun.